Hi, I'm Kathy Cassidy. I am a clinical forensic therapist, and this is just a short introduction to start out the slew of videos that will be coming in case you're interested to know a little of my background and basically what qualifies me to make these kind of videos. I have two master's degrees, and one is in counseling psychology, which allows me to do typical type of counseling when you go to a therapist. And then with that degree, I worked in psychiatric hospitals. That was the first 8 years of my career. And I worked with kids all the way to geriatrics. Primarily, my focus was little kids up to adolescents. That what I learned tended to be a huge portion of sexual abuse victims that were coming in either for the abuse or for substance abuse, but the core tended to be sexual abuse. That was the root issue of all of the acting out that the kids were doing. From that point, I actually got a job working in a jail after I graduated with that first master's. And that was my first exposure to working specifically with sex offenders, which I didn't think, like most people, that I would ever want to work with a sex offender, especially after working with victims for so long and seeing the gravity of the damage that was done to the kids fresh out of the abuse, in the middle of the abuse, or after the abuse, and seeing just incredible damage that's done from sexual abuse, whether it occurs one time or chronically. It was just something I never thought I would want to do. However, when I worked in the jail, I remember standing in my office praying that I not reach over the table and try to, maybe maybe end this person's life. And that's the truth of what was going through my brain. But I had to because it was part of my job. My brain, it was a gift that I would never think I had. I was able to completely separate my brain. It was like fuel to my brain because I felt like I had an actual pedophile's brain on a platter. I'll do more videos about offenders, but that experience at the jail led me to wanting to pursue another master's degree because the original one in counseling did not remotely prepare me to work in a prison or a jail, let alone with sex offenders. I felt that if I didn't specify a further education that was specific to the inmate population and sex offenders, that I would probably get killed or eaten or stalked. So I then went on to pursue a second master's in forensic psychology that was specifically about working with people in prison and sex offenders and other violent criminals. With that, went on to work in prisons, only with sex offenders. I worked for Department of Corrections, doing assessments. So that's what I did for several years, and then I worked with sex offenders who were on parole, fresh out of prison, and did sex offender specific therapy for the Department of Corrections, and worked with the offenders and was a part of working with them while they were going through their parole. Most of my education, I feel like, was from the offenders and the victims. Of course, you learn from the books, but the real richness is from the actual people. So I decided to make these videos to help in whatever way I can, and I hope you guys find it helpful. Really know that my intention is good. My intention is to share my information to help people learn a little bit more, and the goal is to prevent sexual abuse. That's my whole big soapbox. Identifying it, but even more than identifying it, is preventing it. So the series of videos are going to cover many different topics. I'm going to make them short because my work experience includes psychiatric inpatient with different ages, mostly kids and adults. I worked in the emergency room for a hospital, triaging, doing assessments for people who were suicidal, and I've had private practice now since 2010. So that's my experience. So I hope you enjoy on a dark level, I hope you gain something from the videos. And if you ever have questions or comments, I always ask that you have respect when you're leaving them, because know that my intention is good to share. And I really hope whoever watches this gains some insight or some information or some guidance. My goal is never to cause fear or alarm or panic. So that's who I am, and I look forward to posting this bunch of videos on these topics. And that's it. Thank you.